Up the lazy river. Tell us a little bit about Marshall's Dixieland Jazz Band.
Well, Marshall Stalley was a teacher and professor at the Cook College, and he retired. He went to the Westminster Choir College to learn how to play improv piano. This is by 1980. And he and another gentleman joined forces and ran an ad in the old New Brunswick Home News. They were going to form a Dixieland band. And lo and behold, 24 people showed up. So they worked and worked and worked, and they finally got to the point where they could play a few songs, and that was about 30-some years ago. Now, Marshall and the other people involved have passed on, but they were kind enough to give us the use of their names. So Marshall's Dixieland Band is one of the oldest standing bands in the state of New Jersey. I stumbled in one day, and Marshall had an open stage policy. He said, "Would you like to play the piano?" And somehow I feel like that was 15 years ago. So it's been a pleasure the whole time. The camaraderie is wonderful. And I think everybody here can say that through the music, we meet all sorts of fascinating people in different walks of life that we wouldn't meet otherwise. So we're proud to be here. Your grand group, thank you for welcoming us.
We asked each instrumentalist to do more than just play for you, and that is to tell us a little bit about your instrument. And then maybe suggest one of your favorite tunes for the rest of the band to play. So it's a time to sort of turn the band inside out, and you can talk about why you started your instrument or anything that you want to say about your particular instrument and its role in the Dixieland mix of sounds.
Hi, I'm Dave. I play the trombone. I'm supposed to say hi, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Oh, my dad handed me a trumpet, said, "You're learning trumpet." And I don't want to play trumpet, I want to play saxophone. So I put in 2 years on trumpet, and then 7th grade I said to my band director, "I want to play the saxophone." She said, "No, we have enough saxophones, play the euphonium." Yeah, it's like a small tuba. Alright, so I played that, and I played tuba for a concert, and then went back to baritone. In 9th grade, they said, "Would you play trombone?" Might as well, you know, you won't let me play saxophone. So I started trombone in 9th grade, which was a while ago. And so trombone is, in Dixieland, trombone adds all the things, like the other, clarinet comes close to being able to play a smear, and you'll hear that at the beginning of Rhapsody in Blue. That's probably the most famous smear on the saxophone. But other instruments can't do that. They can do things, maybe a string instrument if they have no frets, but we can do all sorts of things like that where other instruments can't. But it works the same as the trumpet and the tuba and the baritone and the French horn. We have an overtone. Sorry.
You're not that important.
Yeah,
I mean, other instruments in the band sitting to your left.
So I get in teacher mode. But anyway, the trombone has an overtone series the same as the trumpet and the tuba and all the other brass instruments, which means even though people look and they go, "We only have so many, how do you get all those notes?" We have all these overtones, so when I put the slide in the right place, and I guess the right place with my lips, well, hopefully the right note comes out. So I'm very good at guessing at this point. So,
is there a tune you'd like us to play for you? One of the things that I love about this band is all the original instruments are here. You've got the exact mix, and everybody is pretty good. And so you really have the authentic Dixieland sound.
We should be sitting there having a discussion and then realize, wait a minute, there's an audience out there.
I don't care about you guys. 49. 49. It had to be you. Ron, tell us about, why did you start the clarinet? How'd you get into this business?
Oh, well, I started because I wanted to play a trumpet. And the
And you started on trumpet too.
band director says we need clarinets.
Got a raw deal.
Back in those days, you know, whatever the man said, that's what you did.
I did too.
Oh, you play clarinet too?
No, I started on trumpet because that's what was handed to me.
Well, you're lucky. I wanted one. They wouldn't give it. So I've played as a hobby ever since. I've gotten into this Dixieland business, and last month I went to New Orleans for 1 week of New Orleans Jazz camp, where they taught us the fundamentals of this kind of music with these instrumentations and what the clarinet's supposed to do. And they tell me if the trombone tries to take the third, tell him to play. You got the third.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, what else did you learn? You went to New Orleans. You must have picked up something.
Hopefully,
All right.
you might have taught them a few things.
Why don't you take the lead on this, and
Okay.
we'll enjoy your sound.
All right.
You wanna-
Sure.
Rod Anderson. pretty good. And wouldn't you agree that him on the lead was really nice? It's been a great honor to bring the age bracket down in this band. And I found a fountain of youth in my wife. And one day Rod looked at me with a great deal of surprise and said, you could be my son. And we decided we just won't go there.
I used to be the young guy.
Yeah, but I'll always be the young
guy.
Tom Spain's back there, being very good. Tom is a film documenter of John Philip Sousa, among other things, and he plays a pretty nice sousaphone. Or don't call that a tuba, right, Tom? Or what should we say?
That is a tuba.
That's a tuba.
Sousaphone based around.
Straighten me out. I'm just a trumpet player.
Yeah. Well, that's a.
They're all the same. If this is 16 feet, if you unwound it, it would be like a big organ pipe that's 16 feet long. And you could wrap it differently and turn it into a flower that sits on your shoulder, and that would be a sousaphone. But it's all the same. This one has a bell that looks forward from the days. It's called a recording bell. It's from the 1920s when the sound equipment and acoustic sound equipment in recording studios couldn't catch the sound of the tuba because the bell went straight up into the ceiling, into the curtains, and it wasn't loud enough. So they designed this bell to blast the sound forward into the microphone, and that's why you're getting the brunt of it tonight.
He used to sit behind me. What?
But this is a circa 1960 Army surplus to Martin to a B flat, double B flat.
It's a double B flat.
Yes.
What does that mean?
I don't know. If you just blow on it without thinking, it plays a B flat, a concert B flat.
Two B flats equal what?
It's the basic, and then there are others, an E flat, that's tubas that go up higher.
So he's in the exact same key as the trumpet. So
Yeah.
this is B flat, he's B flat.
Trombone too.
Yeah.
We're all friends.
We're all friends.
What's the number on that one?
62.
This is a different key than I'm used to. Oh, this is transposed.
Yeah, that's transposed. Who do you think I was thinking of when I played that song? It wasn't you, Dave. Here's a hint. There's only one trumpet player that I like, and that's Louis. And Louis Armstrong's influence on this medium is huge, and this is one of his signature songs. And so,
Yep.
I think a lot about Louis Armstrong whenever I play, and in his whenever a solo, a lot of sort of signature lines. And he'd also sort of, you know, he'd just kind of do the kiss on the end or the shake. You know, and if you ever look at a picture of him and look at his face, you can tell that that guy practiced a lot. So if there's one lesson to any trumpet player, is practice, practice, practice.
Any instrument.
Yeah, really, right? And how many hours do you think we've all put in on these instruments? So,
This is a banjo. I've been playing a banjo since probably high school, but in those days it was more folk music. And at this point I own 4 banjos. This is my pride and joy. I treated myself to this when I found out I had a lung problem. But that's another historical fact. But
Why don't you finish the story about the lungs?
Yeah, because
I had a lung transplant. It'll be August 27th, it'll be a year.
Yeah.
But it saved my life. There was nothing else they could do. I have pulmonary fibrosis, and that's the only cure they have for it. Because you get to that point, and if you're able to get on the list, and they're lucky enough to get along. So I was very, very blessed and fortunate. But anyway, back to the banjo. There are 3 basic style of banjos, actually, but there can be 4. This is called a tenor banjo, and the tuning is C-G-D-A. Plectrum banjo, which is a couple frets longer, is tuned C-G-B-D. And most of your famous soloist banjo players did play the plectrum because the A is high, and this is their high note, so it's lower. And then you have what is considered a 5-string banjo. In essence, is a plectrum banjo with a 5th string on it, used for country and western, southern music and stuff like that. I had one that played that stuff for a while, but this is a jazz banjo, so is the plectrum. And I always wanted to play Dixieland music, and hooked up with these guys about 10 or 12 years ago. And it's been a lot of fun ever since. It's an interesting form of music, the original jazz, where all your modern jazz has come from, started in New Orleans. I've had the pleasure of playing down in New Orleans, like Rod has. Did you play at the Preservation Hall?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. So did I, when I went down. I was going to be down there this week, but I just figured I didn't have enough body strength, you know, even my recovery from a lung transplant. So I canceled out, and I'll probably go down there again next time. Besides the music, New Orleans is a fun place to be. Great food, nice people, and you can really enjoy yourself down there. And there's more good music found in New Orleans, but people just play it on the street. So that's a little plug for the town, city of New Orleans. If you have any questions about the banjo, it started with a gourd type of instrument that came over from Africa, and then eventually became what you see today, kind of, when they took something round and put an animal skin over it, and it became more of a actual instrument. And the tenor banjo is tuned in 5ths, so it makes it easier. Early on in Dixieland Jazz, you had a lot of violin players and viola players. So this is tuned like a viola in 5ths, so it made it easier for them to play. And your big bass fiddles are tuned in 5ths and stuff like that. So that's where this came from. Where they developed, why they developed the other style banjo, I don't know. it's fine, it's a great tune, great good instrument, a lot of fun. And I'm sorry I don't have my fingers going, but I'm enjoying this.
Frank, did you want to play trumpet? Did you want to play trumpet?
I want to start playing trumpet.
Bunch of wannabes.
There weren't any strings on it, I don't know.
Frank, you think you could give us a round of Rosetta? And,
Yeah.
Sure. Why don't we jump to Rosetta?
Before you do that,
Yeah.
he brought up a very good point. Everybody, if you can, be an organ donor.
Oh, yes.
I mean, you're not gonna use them once you're gone. You know, you might as well keep somebody alive, keep somebody's family together.
Exactly.
Go ahead, sign that card. Nobody's gonna let you die quick because they want to take your
Mark
organs.
it on your license.
They're not gonna steal your vital parts.
We have a collection plate on the way out. If you can just leave a kidney or a lung, we'd greatly appreciate it.
No,
Sorry, Dave.
It actually did save my life, so I'm becoming a big advocate. Thank you very much, drummer.
This is a song I always think of Frank when we play it. It's Rosetta, and it's a really nice banjo tune. It's one that's really become sort of a signature piece for the band.
Yeah, it's a nice tune. Charlie, the history on Rosetta, it was...
Yeah, it was written by a guy named Earl Hines, who was a stride player out of New Orleans. And he was a great writer and a great player. So we'll take it nice and easy for you, Frank. Because I wanted to do it slowly,
Yeah.
please. Is that okay with the band?
That's fine.
I'll do a vocal after the song.
Yeah, that's something.
Say
Charlie Huck, your favorite piano player?
My favorite piano player is Benny Wilson. He played with the Benny Goodman Band when they were the small band. And I started out liking Fast Waller. I remember Ain't Misbehaving and tunes like that, Honeysuckle Rose. And before that, there was a James B. Johnson. But in today's world of stride players, which I try to do, there are some tremendous musicians. Jeff Barnhart's out there, Mark Shane, if you ever get an opportunity to hear them. And my present piano teacher by the name of Fred Fisher, an absolutely spectacular guy. And the only story I'm going to tell on myself is I've been taking lessons from Fred for about 13 years now. And a perfectly fabulous individual. But in 8th grade, I had 6 months of lessons from a very stern teacher. And thank goodness I didn't know it, but he was teaching me to play the stride. And you're going to notice my hand going back and forth down here. The rumor is that when they were having a Harlem rent party, they couldn't afford a drummer or a bass player, so the piano player, he had to play the rhythm. Now, back to my 8th grade teacher. He was teaching me to do that, and I never knew it, but I've been grateful ever since. I had to go away to summer school. I wasn't smart enough. I couldn't play the trumpet, so I had to. I did not see Mr. Nadine again for about 20 years. I ran into him. He was playing in a restaurant not far from Bedminster, and I rushed up to him, and he was a very strict guy. I said, Mr. Nadine, remember me? I'm Charlie Huck. I took lessons from you in Gladstone in 1948. And he said, you never stopped playing. He says, yes, Charles. I remember at the time I had 2 students. He said, the girl did very well. Enough of piano.
So what do you want to play?
What do you want to play?
Well, let's see.
How about Darktown Swimming?
Sure, let's play the Darktown Swimming. That's exactly what I was going to say. band bands that you would hear in New Orleans, which you have before you. And except then they would have real pianos. And other than that, I'd say this is as close to a nightclub as you're going to get. Did you say China Boy?
China Boy, China. Give us an intro.
We didn't hear about the drums.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're going to
Hear about the drum.
What about the drums?
Oh, yes.
Well, I'm almost gonna need some help from my dad, because somehow it all started out. I'm down in his workshop. I don't know, was I maybe 5, 4, 6? Paint cans, cardboard boxes, and wooden dowels. And I'm just beating away. For whatever reason, started me going and doing that.
Quaker Oats boxes.
Oh, yeah.
Wherever we can find, he would beat on them.
It didn't make me happy.
I mean,
Because you wanted him to play the trumpet.
my younger brother actually wanted to play the saxophone.
Or was it trombone?
No, saxophone.
Saxophone.
And my dad found the trumpet, or cornet, I should say.
my gosh!
Beautiful, beautiful con horn that Richie Sturtevant, who used to play the trumpet with us, always wanted, but he could never get. But it turned out to be a real gem. My little brother now teaches music up in East Hanover?
East
Yeah,
Hanover.
yeah. So he's still playing the horn. But yeah, I got started, and unfortunately I never really studied with anybody. I just kind of did it, and that was it. And but the drums, as an interesting point, was the drum set itself didn't come about until Dixieland Music. Before that, they used the basic band setup that John Philip Sousa basically created and kind of formed the thing. He knows more about that than I would. But what happened was because they're playing in these little places and with small groups, you can't have a bass drum player, a snare drum player, and a cymbal player all playing. So, well, with John Philip Sousa, they started with the cymbal on the bass drum, so that cut it down to 2 guys. Well, then guys started trying to fashion homemade bass drum pedals so that they could play the bass drum with their foot while playing the snare drum. And that slowly evolved. They came up with a table that they would have all kinds of noisemakers, and they came up with the name of calling it a trap set, which was short for contraption, because they had all kinds of contraptions on the table. And that was the dawn of the drum set, which coincided with the dawn of jazz with Dixieland Jazz. And it was just a thing in the way people play the drums now. Some of the formula was all based off of those early years, and it was a major change in the way people played drums from before that, where it was more almost marching or orchestra type with different players, and it became the drum set. This is a cocktail drum set. It's just more convenient because it's smaller and it's easier to carry. A more traditional cocktail would have a taller drum like this, even with the top head being the snare drum and the bottom being the bass, with no extra drums on the side. This is a more modern version of it, but I mean, I guess that's basically covers how that works.
You guys want to add anything?
It really doesn't
Parent
matter.
perspective?
He improved a little bit.
Thanks, Mom. Yeah, and I've been in and out with Marshalls. There's an older gentleman, Sam, that has played with Marshall from almost the beginning. I don't, Sammy's in his 90s now? Is he?
Sammy's a World War II veteran.
Yeah, one of the few last of those now.
Going strong.
And he still plays a lot. He lives further South Jersey, so sometimes he doesn't like to come this far. and stuff, but beautiful old guy. And somehow I got recruited by Richie Sturdivant, actually, when he was playing trumpet, because I played with him in the drum and bugle corps. And they said, hey, we need somebody to keep the beat. We have no drummer, so, you know, to make it. So I've been on and off, I don't know how many years now.
He's always there when we need him.
Probably longer than most, almost now. Because, let me see, I think Rod was the first guy from this group that I remember coming into Marshall's.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had that old gentleman from Bound Brook that played clarinet also. Right. But, yeah. But, just as a fill-in.
I think one of the... Do you all have any questions for any of the instruments here? Anything you've been wondering about?
Want to buy anything? When you sell it.
If you do, just holler it out. We're going to play China Boy.
Here we go.
Notice that a lot of times we sort of make it up as we go. This is a lead sheet that we play. Basically, we play off something called a fake book. And this is just a list of about every song that ever was written. This is, even says fake book on it. And a lot of times what we're doing is just using our ear and trying to make up the sound that works. And a band that's been playing together starts to gel, and we start really listening to one another.
How long have you been playing together?
Well, we're really a collection, so some of us have been playing longer than others.
Thursday.
Yeah. Is it 4 o'clock? We call it play it by fear.
And how come you play the trumpet?
What's that?
How come you play the trumpet?
Well, I started on violin.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and I got kicked out. So I was in 5th grade and I was plucking a string, and band director said, "Get out of here." And so I came back a week later, and it was brass. And so I had an old cornet that my grandpa had. I picked up the horn, and they had us play the B-flat scale. And I was able to play it all the way up to C, and all the way down again, and it sounded beautiful. And to this day, I can't believe the sound that comes out of this sometimes, that it's coming out of me. And it's really a wonderful thing. So
and now he has trouble with the B-flat scale.
Yeah. This horn is very special. It's a shepherd's crook cornet. And a cornet is a lot of times used for the authentic Dixieland sound. It looks different than a trumpet. I also have a flugelhorn, which I don't play a whole lot because it's not really authentic with this group. It's nice for a couple tunes, but when it's mellow.
If we don't have a trombone.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really beautiful horn. It's one of the nicest horns I've been able to play in the White House Wind Symphony, and so I try to, as much as I can play the more.
Is that a con?
What's that?
Is that a con or no?
This is a Bach.
Oh.
I'm not conning you when I say that. The reason that a lot of people want to play the trumpet is I feel like the quarterback sometimes, because the trumpet carries the melody. And if you drop the ball, the whole band can fall apart, just like the drummer or any of the rhythm instruments. But you really have to have that, know exactly where you're going, and that's why I make Rod so tense. I'll say, "Rod, take lead." And it's really a great honor to play between musicians like this, because you learn so much. So.
We'll have to get you down to New Orleans next year.
Yeah.
Sit on Royal Street and put a hat out there and make some money.
It's funny, I started cornet in 5th grade. My bell, I was at Cleveland.
Yeah?
And my bell came out further than yours. I remember it being a little longer for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know, they made different ones, or?
Well, there's a lot of different styles, and they're all basically in B flat, just like Tom's tuba. It wasn't a trumpet, though.
No, it wasn't cornet.
Yeah,
No question about it. Dad paid $250 for it, and they had when the director said, "You got to play tuba because you're the tallest kid in the band."
That's very familiar.
Yeah. Or sousaphone, excuse me. It was
either way.
The flower.
A lot of failed trumpet players sitting back with those ones.
I was the first trumpet.
Well, am I doing okay?
Yeah.
Should I stay? All right, Ain't Misbehaving.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Sean?
You gotta be cautious.
Yeah. Yeah, when the library director kicks you out, it's time for your last tune. And that's the time that the trumpet player goes like this.